Hello everyone, Nova Tempest here. I've got another World of Tanks skill play for you today. So just before we get started, I am currently operating the SU-122-44, a fairly nasty Russian tank destroyer at Tier 7. It has preferential matchmaking, so we'll never see a Tier 9 vehicle, as long as it's by itself, of course. As some of you folks can probably tell, this is Pearl River. This is not exactly a good map for a vehicle that lacks gun depression, especially something like the SU-122-44, which only has 4 degrees of gun depression, so not that good. At any rate, I'm trying to figure out here where the heck I'm going to go. I could go to where the heavy tanks brawl with one another, or I could go south and support that side. If I go north, I'm going to have to be trading shots. The SU-122-44 is not so good with that, so that's probably a bad idea. If I go middle, the lack of a turret is going to hurt me. On top of that, there is also the aforementioned lack of gun depression, which will also be an enormous problem for this tank. So I'm not going to be able to fire shots back at tanks with better gun depression. So that's probably also a bad idea. That leaves just the south. I can provide fire support to anybody that goes down there, and on top of that, the SU-122-44 hits pretty hard for a Tier 7, so anybody that does stick their neck out is going to get whacked pretty bad. Now with that planning out of the way, let's get rolling. As we can see, everyone is going to the positions they should be going. We have mediums going into the middle, which is good. We have several vehicles going to the south, which is also good. Gives me friendly teammates to provide fire support to. That's always useful. Never be alone in a tank. That's not the best situation to be in. I take up this hill position right here. Enemy vehicles start getting spotted. E25 went into the middle, which is fairly interesting. Be on the lookout for him. He'll be a nuisance for most of this game. And now we just sit and we wait. I'm keeping an eye on what's going on to the center. Here comes some enemies. That scout made it to where I can't fire at him, so missed opportunity. Already have a Hotch down. Medium tank is brawling with their scout. And here come the Reds. He waits. Pops out. Boom. First shot. There's a Cromwell. Focused on this Sherman, though. Boom. Second shot. Again, a track. And he's dead. Cromwell made it, of course, but I got rid of the Sherman, so that helps. And here comes a Challenger. I want to take a moment to pause here and break down a mistake I made here. One of the few. There's a second one that happens later. But in this instance, I accidentally decided to aim straight at my target rather than leading. Leading is important, especially if something's moving around a lot in World of Tanks. So I made a mess up here and, well, didn't really do that, so I ended up missing. That hit might have saved the medium tank that was up ahead of me, rather than ended up eliminated later on. Thankfully, the SU-122-44 is a little forgiving with a fairly fast reload speed. Now we start whacking away at this Challenger. He
he's not going to be trying much after that. But just in case, we're going to wait to see if someone else makes a mistake. It is at this point we have our main uh-oh moment. The E-25 that I mentioned for you guys to keep an eye out for has just popped up out of nowhere and is running down our artillery. That puts me in a quandary. Do I stay here and watch our medium and make sure he doesn't get swarmed, or do I try to go after this E-25 and get rid of him since he's a one-shot at this point and save us a bunch of trouble for later? I decide to go after the E-25 because that's more of a important target than, well, sitting around waiting for some heavily damaged tanks to try and pop out on this medium. The other reason I'm going to do this is twofold. Firstly, I have no idea what that E-25 is going to do as soon as he gets rid of our arty, because I know I'm not going to make it in time, but I am fast enough to potentially catch him. So, I don't know if he's going to go after me as soon as he gets that arty, or if he's going to try to get behind the teammates I have up north. So if I put myself there, he's going to be in a bind to get the heck out of there before I whap him. So I begin my desperate attempt to catch this E-25 before it can wreak too much havoc. I know he's probably going to get our arty before I can get to him, but I want to do my best here. Now, obviously, he got our arty. I was definitely not fast enough, but the E-25 has a very high rate of fire, so it wasn't really going to matter. But this guy is obviously crap, because what he's going to end up doing is he's going to end up actually juking me out to get away. The smart thing to do in this situation, so I'm going to give my hats off to him for that, but I'll see him later. I loop around to see if he got stuck or made a small mistake, which, obviously he didn't because he's crafty. I flare help to the middle folks to try and get someone out, to try and catch him off guard, but of course, no one really responds. So, I have to improvise at this point. Now, of course, as soon as I left, the enemy swarmed the one lone medium down south. So that's no longer going to be an option. I decide to wing around and go help the north flank and free up a bunch of teammates. That's going to help me out a lot. I also, of course, flare an SOS to go, hey, the south flank's just evaporated. We're going to need some attention over there. And I believe the Cromwell B in the middle actually kind of responds, so he's got his eyes over there, so that's going to be helpful. The VK also replied, sort of, so that is also going to be another gun watching our base cap, which will help us out. At this point, I decide to go Rambo on this and just dive right the heck in. Throwing myself into this furball of a tank battle is going to throw every single red in there in disarray and get them uncomfortable, and that is exactly what I want to do, is make them make mistakes, or force them to make mistakes that they normally wouldn't do. Stir email blows that tank out of the water. I go to proceed to go after this other vehicle, free up another tank, potentially saving them. And there we go, that's the north side secured. Nice and easy. I get some gratitudes. Nice to see that every so often. So, now, I rally everyone to come south. Now that I've notified them all, hey, the base is exposed, they've all decided to come back this way, which is a good thing. The Cromwell B is still right there, keeping his eyes out. As soon as something gets spotted, he'll be able to start firing at it, which is exactly what we want. Hopefully in a protected position, of course, because a bunch of our guys are low health. I'm the only one that's still intact. As far as I know, of course. There's a T-25 too. Everybody starts shooting. KV-3 gets the kill shot. Now our players up in the north are playing defensively, which is, again, a good sign. They're letting the faster tanks push through the south. which is where we last saw any enemies. They have likely at this point decided to play defensively. Their Artie, for some reason, decides to come down here to the corner, probably not realizing we're coming down that way. Or at least I am. Our team is moving as a group. This is a great thing to see in a tanks game, because normally you don't really see that in randoms. But in this case, this is happening, and it's very nice to see. So this is where we last saw our M44, and there he is in the corner. Now watch what I do here. Look around. Whap it. Sure, he gets a shot off into me, but it's only 243 damage rather than a lot more, and I figure I can take that hit. That almost comes to bite me later, but we'll see. The Cromwell B ran out toward their cap to try and get spots on enemy tanks. He sees one, gets into cover, or at least attempts to, starts exchanging fire with the other medium tank that's still alive. Now, remember, the E-25 is still somewhere. We have no idea where he is. VK almost gets himself shot. Again, exchange of fire between mediums. I am rushing around to get to a good firing position. The E-25 pops up for the briefest moment. Zero in on him. Boom. Lucky hit there. I will admit, that was very lucky on my end. Now I go to deal with these mediums. The first one that pops up is the one I fire at. I deflect that shot. I don't want him to eat all my hit points. The Cromwell tries to come at me. I have the hit points to spare, but... So, as you may have noticed, I didn't hit that Cromwell. Well, why is that? Well, it's because I was on the side of this hill, and the SU-122-44 is a Russian tank, so it doesn't have gun depression. Basically, I fired off too fast and whiffed my shot. So, I had to reload again. Hopefully the Cromwell doesn't take advantage of that. He makes the exact same mistake. Boom. And that's the game. As you can see from these results, high caliber, top gun, grade 1, we were deep into the purple with the Win 8. These are how each player did. The E-25 on their team did fairly well for himself, so hats off to him. He had a good game, all in all. And of course, there are my awards again. Fairly well balanced all around. So then we're going to go into the detailed report. This is all the shots I took and everything and the credits I made. But yeah, that was a pretty good game. So if you all enjoyed that, please sure to give a like, comment, subscribe. And I will see you guys on the next one. So until then, take care everybody.